Hi guys, I've just got back from X-Men First Class. I'll get the first thing out of the way and tell you what I thought of the movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good film. Um, it's a much needed shot in the arm for the X-Men franchise when it comes, especially when it comes to the movies. Big fan of the first one. Thought that was great. The second one for me was even better. I mean, for me, the second one is pretty much a classic when it comes to superhero films. The third one was very disappointing, but it did have its moments, especially with Ian McKellen, who proves what a great character Magneto is. And with X-Men Origins, that was a complete mess, to be honest with you. There was some fairly good action scenes in it, which I enjoyed, but the character, the treatment of the characters like Deadpool, and it's probably just if I had my way, I'd rather forget about what went on in the third movie and then the fourth movie, and I think that's been the sentiment really for anyone who's seen those two, and we got the feeling that Fox really didn't care anymore about the X-Men franchise, and I'm pleased to say that now I've seen X-Men First Class. It looks like they've decided to reinvigorate the whole series, and not only is this like a prequel, but it also feels to me like a reboot, like there's some freshness being put back into it. It's a very intelligent story. While Thor is good fun, and all the Marvel movies are good fun, this for me it felt a lot more intelligent. It was a lot more plot driven, character driven, but also had some fantastic special effects and some great action scenes in it. It does start actually exactly the same as the very first X-Men. It goes right back to Eric Lenz's childhood when he's in the concentration camp and his parents have been taken away. This is Magneto, by the way. His parents have been taken away from him, and it's almost the exact scene from the first movie, where he bends the gate, but then it gets extended, and he's taken under the wing by this rather evil Nazi, played by a familiar character that you'll see later on in the film, and he is aware of Magneto's powers, or young Magneto's powers, and wants to manipulate them. We then find out later on that Magneto is got away from there, and he wants revenge for certain reasons. That his family were taken by the Nazis, and he wants revenge on Nazis. So basically, he's sort of a one-man army going against these Nazis in hiding. It's fantastic. It says to me how great a Magneto movie could have been, especially with Michael Fassbender. I apologise if I've said that name wrong, but how great he was playing the character. Are definitely believable. Had an edge to him, real edge, just much like very similar to how Hugh Jackman gave Wolverine. In this one, Magneto has the edge. He's definitely the main character that's sort of driving the plot along, especially during the first half of the film. So he's after this Nazi, and he wants revenge, and certain situations come together that bring the guy he's after. It turns out the Americans are after him too, and this brings together Charles Xavier, who's helping out the CIA in finding this Nazi, and together with Magneto and Charles, they decide to go and recruit some mutants, because this Nazi guy is recruiting mutants of his own. He knows about mutants, and he's got a mutant army of his own. People who've seen the film are probably saying to me, while they're watching this, well, why aren't you saying certain things? I really want to make it spoiler free as I can, so I'm not going to say certain things about who the Nazi is or anything like that. There's a great scene in when they're recruiting mutants. There's a great cameo, which I thought was a fantastic scene. It's probably one of the best bits in the movie, but There's lots of great bits in it. So basically now we find out that the bad guy, the Nazi guy, is wanting to cause World War Three with the help of the mutants, and he wants to basically have the Russians and the Americans fighting. So he's basically trying to manipulate the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it's down to our heroes, the X-Men, to prevent this from happening. They've recruited their mutants, and it's not just like they've got to prevent the Russians and the Americans fighting each other. They've got to prevent the mutants, the bad mutants, from manipulating the whole thing. And it still sticks with Magneto's revenge storyline. It gives the character real purpose, and why he has so much hatred for humankind, and why he became who he did. Wonderful special effects in some scenes. The powers look really great when they're being used. Great character driven storyline. I really liked how they explained more of the backstory of Mystique, and they did explain certain things, like the Mystique has a relationship with like a very close friendship with Magneto. That develops, but she also had, from her childhood, she had a special relationship with Charles Xavier. And when the film comes to an end, you kind of are thinking that you're hoping that there's going to be a sequel to this, because you really want to know more, but that fills in the gap between the first two X-Men. So I was definitely, when it got to the end, definitely interested to see what's going to happen later on with other films. I would like to see sequels to these younger X-Men. It's definitely been set up for that. Certain things happen and certain events happen that make characters become more familiar to us, for people who read the comics, or for people who watch the X-Men films. Certain things, certain characters develop into more of how we recognise them. Some of the most impressive stuff is like with Magneto, when he's using his, bending his metal, and being able to stop things like missiles and bullets, and and the fight scenes are really good. If you got like Hank McCoy, he's in a really good fight at the end, and Banshee, how he develops how to use his powers better, and I thought it was great. I thought it was really great, and I definitely recommend people seeing it. As I said, the storyline is it's a lot more plot driven, a lot more character driven, so it probably doesn't seem to run at a fast pace, whereas action. It does stop and explain stuff, but it soon picks up again with some great action scenes. If I was going to compare it to Thor, I would say, if I would compare it to all the Marvel movies, I'd say with them they're more cartoony, more comic. This one, even though it's got like people with fantastical powers, it felt more real. But Thor and Iron Man were no less enjoyable. They're just different films. It's very hard to compare those two films to X-Men. X-Men is X-Men, and I love it for the way it is. I'd say that we're very lucky. We've got two films now. We've got Thor and we've got X-Men First Class. So that's two great comic book movie films that have come out this year already. So what would I give it out of 5 stars? I'd probably give it 4.5. I think the only downfall for me was that it probably tried to cram in a bit too much into one movie, because as I said, it's not just a prequel. It felt like a kind of like a reboot of the franchise. So there was a lot of like introducing characters and getting to know characters again. Because I don't expect everything to marry up to the first two X-Men movies. There are sort of plot holes there. that have been suggested in the first two X-Men movies that don't quite marry up to the relationship Charles and Magneto, or Professor X and Magneto, have in this film. But as I said, there's going to be, hopefully there'll be sequels to this, and they can explain more of their relationship. Yeah, as I said, 4.5 stars, and I couldn't praise it anymore. So that's my review of X-Men First Class, and I'll catch you later.